Okay, thank you very much. Let me start in sharing. And let's just start with the presentation. Okay, I'm sharing now. Thank you for coming, everybody. Today is a webinar that is functional for those of you who actually manage reports. Not the actual process of, well, we have different types of tools and reports, but the one that is embedded in Business Central where you could create your reports. And because we have a tool that helps us to actually define different reports through a Word, actually, so you can actually check that and change your own reports if you need, even if you are not fully functional, like a programmer, or if you don't know a report management or other tools, right? At least you have a way of at least checking which reports you're going to be, and check the organization, check which reports you're going to be using per document, and so forth. So for instance, whenever we go to a report, let me show you. I'm going to open now the posted sales invoice, which is a very common report that we always will be using in our companies. And if you see here, the idea is that, well, our reports basically, once printed, they will be generating a specific report. And look at this, use the default values from, and printing this document. It has a specific setting. Also, it gives us some coding, like if you want to show assembly components or show shipments, right? This type of setups were somehow done from the technical part, right? Because it has a lot of process behind, as you can see, to show how many shipments or show additional fee notes. Those are just part of when you select this report to print. Then all of our reports have different type of additions or filters that you can add, right? So this part will be sort of speak coded. Okay, it depends. The other type of documents don't show shipments or assembly components. This is only for this document and was done by code. Below you see some filters, like for instance, this is a filter for one customer, so we are not going to print all the invoices, right? And the document number. So for instance, from here I could select another invoice, right? From different customers. Look at this, 1,000, 2,000, and so forth. So when I selected this line for the sales invoice, why the one that finishes with 36, right? Immediately the button that when I just clicked printing, it actually filtered for me this information, right? So I just need to send it to an email, print it, or review it. It's not a problem. So we can do actually both, because as well the process can send to PDF, to Word, however you want it, right? And let's just take a look at one single report that is just here, right? It has a logo, it has well, some additional text, right? And the process then is going to help me just to modify information according to my needs, right? So then these reports as well were designed in advance by a person, actually, and this was done by me with using just one tool, Word, and by, so to speak, creating my own layout, however I want it in my company, usually the same way I actually create a document in Word. That's why I by the way, didn't have too much time to create a fancy report with different colors. But I'm here to tell you how to insert this information into this document, right? And if you want to have the information in blue, in red, with bold, or other areas, well, you know how to use Word to make a more beautiful invoice, not this one. All right. How is that done? And it's actually quite easy. It's not that difficult anymore. Like I said, the idea is that we most of the time won't require this specialized SQL programmer to always print a simple report like this. Otherwise, as well, we have other type of reports, just to mention, because I'm talking about printed forms, right? But nevertheless, you might be thinking, what type of reports? Okay, yes, we have other BI We have other tools to generate reports. I'm talking about, for instance, another one that we connect in real time to Business Central that is called Power BI, okay? Which I'm not going to check today because for this is another full training actually just to use this product to generate these beautiful charts with histograms and these bars and all of these different colors. Not difficult to use anyway. It has its own tools actually, Power BI, to generate this information coming from the standard Business Central tables, right? So I want to so to speak, point out that it is not anymore that difficult to create the reports you desire. And as well, just to mention columns, if you need, we have another tool if you want your reports in Excel, especially for accountants or the people who want to see more than just charts or documents, real figures and totalize subtotals, formulas, and then generate, well, with additional columns from other tables, well, just additional specific lectures. For that, we manage one Excel tool that, well, reports that are printed into Excel. It's beautiful and it's called Jet Reports, right? So just to mention, you have more additional ideas. Okay. And for now, let me just give you a simple introduction to the actual information for the documents that you have in your company. And in order to verify that, I'm going to just call one function that you can find. It's called reports and documents. Let me see if that's the name. No, it's reports layout. Sorry, it's because in different versions, I have different names. Okay. And for me, I want to check the reports layout selection or reports layouts as well. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I have different reports here. Look at this. I have a detailed trial balance and I have a number series. Well, these are actually all RDLC. Okay, and if you want, you can just verify, for instance, the number series. Okay, I'm going to run a report. Review and close. So here, with this simple list, you are going to be able to check all your reports that you have. Here I have the one that is called number series. Yes, we have a report just to show which number series our documents will handle. Okay, for instance, the bank A001, A2A01000, currently using this one. Okay, simple report to then provide information from tables. This is not really interesting. This is not the point of today, but I need to show you that all of our information actually is generated by this type of reports that we just run with execution and show it immediately in front of you. You are going to see the actual report taken from standard Business Central every time you run and execute, and then execute while you are navigating. Let me show you now the purchase invoice. This is the reports I will be talking about today. Okay, the purchase invoice, for instance, it's taking a second. Okay, as well has the same feature to then just immediately print the information to send to the vendor, right? We can generate then the invoice. Okay, once that is generated as well, we are going to be able to post and print. So that's why I'm talking about execution. While you're executing your processes, you have different reports. Let's talk about the purchase invoice. We generate an order, we need to send it to the vendor, and then we generate a reception. For that, we need another document. For the purchase confirmation, send it to email, we need another document. And for the invoice, we need a third document just to finish one single process. Okay, how do we do that? And yes, it's by module as well. We are going to be checking that information by module. Let me show you. Now, in order to just check that, let me just open another window that we have, which is the report layout selection. Here it is, okay? Then you're going to see for every company that you have in Business Central, all the different reports that were created. Now, these are the reports that I'm talking about that I do with execution. For instance, let's talk about the invoices. I can search for all the reports that I have in my company that mention the word invoice, okay? So let's take a look. First of all, I have different companies. In this report layout selection place, this is the route for me, or in one single page, I can see all the reports that are enabled for me to operate, right, while I execute a button, an action that I have in Business Central, and I can select the idea from these actions which report will be there, and even design a new report if necessary. So in this first page, I just need to select the actual company. You can see that I have plenty of them, but in this list, I have them for different countries and working with the USA company. Then with the word invoice, I have a sales invoice, a purchase invoice, a pro forma, even a draft invoice, even if you need it as well. Right. So the process here, if I just take a look at the sales invoice, for instance, from here, you're going to be able to see, first of all, if you need a report, well, here from the actual text that you have, let's just verify the sales invoice. And if I run it again from here without having to go and look at the actual sales invoice route where you have finished an invoice, right? That will be for the functional team that will be printing from there. But here you can see the source of where this report is managed. Okay, all of these reports are managed through the report layout selection, where I'm going to be able to see all the reports from my company. And if you run it again, you can see without having to open any specific document how the report will be printed for you to see it. So this is a way we preferably start navigating to explore the different reports. Okay, so I have another for services, or another one you can see here that I have a custom layout that I have created, a Word document, which we're going to see today, and RDLC that is still in place, but this won't be anymore used that much. Okay, the report manager is not well, it has a few years actually. It's still here, it's still there if you want to use it, but we have new tools now that we are going to be presenting today. If you don't know it, this type of tool, RDLC, is the one that connects to SQL, from where, if you know how to operate with this tool, it's quite technical, by the way, from where you can actually drag and drop some fields into a document to generate a report that actually consumes information from SQL. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry for that. It's just trying to attend emergencies once in a while for different supports, but for now it's okay. Okay, I was explaining about this, the RDLC or Word. Okay, so we have these two formats and custom layout. This is because you can generate your own reports. That will be the main idea here. Okay, so the idea is as well that RDLC, just for you to know, custom layout I have created, and we have two formats, Word, and the other one is RDLC. So this will be taken from a data set. Okay, custom layouts are reports that you design to change the appearance of our report. You typically create a custom layout based on a built-in layout as well, but you can create them from scratch or copy from an existing custom layout. We're gonna check that today. So trying to give you the explanation of what we do here in this page, okay? The custom layout enables you to have multiple layouts for the same report, which you switch among as needed, right? So that will be the idea. For example, you can have different layouts for each Business Central company, or you can have different layouts for the same company for specific occasions or events like Christmas, sales campaign, or I don't know, holiday season, right? So use once in a while, just changing. That's possible now, right? And to summarize, a report object in Business Central has one data set, one or two built-in layouts, okay? A Word layout, once again, or an RDLC layout, or both. It's not a problem. We manage both at the same time. So both layouts are built on top of the same common data set, which is the best, okay? They're at runtime in the application, like I have shown you. So you can add many more custom layout at the same report object, okay? So the idea is that we can as well, later you can decide which of the layouts should become the default layout for that report, okay? So we're going to see, first of all, the word layout. We can actually just verify information, for instance, for the sales invoice, okay? I have different custom layouts and I have one default, okay? So the select layout button is going to give me the possibility to show me which layout is currently here. It's just one line. We're going to come back in a moment to, after we change one report selected, to be printed in the application, okay? But look at this. Just by checking the sales invoice, for instance, I want to see how many people, how many reports I have available that somebody maybe created behind the scene. So this is the custom layout, okay? The custom layout window from the same report layout selection, okay, is going to provide me for that sales invoice document. Look at this, all these different designs that I have done actually for different customers and demos that I have presented. So when I actually change the actual document or invoice to have the colors, when I do, for instance, a demo, to add the company logo or change according to the functionality. Some of you might use bill of materials. Some of you just require a different layout, different colors, whatever. Okay, whatever is good for you is good for us, and you are going to learn how I actually more or less just do so, because the idea is that you have the idea, you can practice as well later, or call us to give you additional insights into this through maybe a specific training. Okay, but let me show you, for instance, how because I don't have RDLC, I currently have to look at this. All of these are just Word, okay, Word, but the RDLC layouts are based on client report definition layout. Okay, the other type of file, I mean this one, I'm looking in the internet at least for this one, the RDLC, okay. The Word, you already see it. I can even run this report once again, so you can check how it looks in Word, and I'm going to export it to actually customize and change some things in one of my Word reports. Now, for the RDLC as well, which is based on a client report definition layout, okay, I actually don't work with them, but it's a type RDL file, RDL, okay? These layouts are created and modified by using SQL Server Report Builder, okay? The design concept of RDLC layouts is like Word layouts as well, where the layout defines the general format of the report and determines the field from the data set to include. Designing a RDLC layout is more advanced than Word layouts, and actually that's why it's still here. Let me show you one of these that I have just found on the internet while I was giving you this explanation. Okay, this will be the RDLC, and Word, you already know how to use Word. Okay, but this is well built in SQL, and consume, it's going to consume the same data set that we have for our sales invoice, but used through that that tool from SQL. Okay, so I have just verified that from the actual Microsoft documents for the training, for the people who actually take this training. This is the actual page where they operate. You can see that at least, well, they have these specific fields. They are all these fields and company logo, labels, and all of that, but each generated through this. I don't think they can add different like colors and things like that. Okay, that's why Word it's more like handy, but it as well uses the same structure to add the fields wherever you want to add them. I'm gonna show you that how in Word we can just add exactly this, like the customer address, the item number. It's quite small. But here is a sales invoice where we could have a header adding the customer. In the middle section is like the items, the shipments that were done, the quantity invoice. And then below, I can see, well, just a subset of data related to this document. Okay, let me just come back to the one. We need to create and modify a report, a layout once in a while. And then for that, once again, we need to go to the report layout selection page. Okay, let me just close this a little, finish this introduction. Okay, report layout selection once again. I was talking about, give me 1 second, good. Okay, I was talking about that here we could select, for instance, I was talking about the sales invoice report 1306. Okay, here it is. Okay, first of all, I have a report ID, a report name, okay, and a layout type, which is Word and a description. I think that I'm missing one field. Let me see if I can find it. Custom report layout code. Okay, very good. Okay, so this report actually has all these different layouts. Come to the report layout selection. If you know the name or the number of your report, I was talking about today the invoice, but maybe you are thinking, hey, I want to change the credit memo. I don't like it, or the colors, or I want to add a second, third field, whatever, right? Here are all, once again, your reports, Word or RDLC, that you can select from in order to then just run it and see immediately how the report looks. If you as well want to change it, then you might need then to look at the sales invoice. In this case, well, this is a report I want to work with today, and look at how then in the field that was missing, custom report layout code. From here is where I can select other layouts that I have. For instance, the mother one that I created, a red one, okay, or default simple email body. Okay, the idea for you to use this tool is that as well, select your report or look at the custom layouts as well. You will be doing more of this now, and you are going to be then able to, for instance, let's take a look at many of them, because maybe you as well don't remember how they look. So let's take a look at the red one. So I run this report. The idea is that you have here all the data, all the different reports that we created through the time, right? That would be then a good process for us to then just be able to select at any given moment, and without having to delete, like, well, with previous ways of design a report, you need to actually just change the actual definition of the report that you have, and you won't have additional options to change it later. You need to call once again the programmer and so forth. But with this, just you saw the red one, but now I want to see and use today the blue one, okay? And let's just verify how it looks, right? So that will be the idea, okay? For the sales invoice document that I have in my company, now I have different layouts that I have created. And remember, this was by company, right? So they are not generated just like indifferently without reviewing from which company they are actually available. So this is super important, okay? The Kronos USA company, which is my demo company, will currently manage one report for the sales invoice. From here, you can select which report you want. And if you want as well, let's just verify the custom layout to run the different reports that are available, so you can see all the design of all of them. Okay, at this point, whenever I'm gonna actually create a new one, why not to copy one of them? For instance, the modern one. Okay, if you want to change it or add a new one, I'm gonna click on new, or in order to create a new report. If you want, maybe by using the definition of another one you have done in the past, or you at least as well can create one from scratch, okay? Otherwise, you can copy as well any one of them to have a foundation of any given report and start adding additions, okay? This is what we're gonna see, for instance, just to begin. Well, copy and new are the functions that we will be using to generate a new one that we want to maybe modify and have it available here for us. So for instance, I want to insert the word layout. I have click on new, right? And insert built-in layout for a report by clicking OK. Then I will be having a copy of built-in layout, okay? And as well, let me just show you another one, and the other option for copying reports. Immediately, I was selecting this US sales invoice model, then I can copy it, and then immediately it created a copy of US sales invoice model. Okay, so the idea is that I have now a copy of the same report that I can use to work, or if I click on new, then I will be having just a copy of a built-in report. So you decide what to do, but here, this will be a report from scratch. And you're going to see it in a moment, okay? And this is the copy of sales invoice. Well, this will be the, instead of copy, I'm going to add the webinar, a US sales invoice model, okay? So this is it. So you are creating more reports from scratch or based on previous reports that you have, and just take a look at the layout, how it looks, because from here you can actually just do this information, okay? And the type, of course, remember in this case is Word, okay? Otherwise, if you don't want this type of Word layouts, well, we can come back a little and copy an RDLC or create a new one as well from here. Let me just show you. Edit list, and if you want, I can, here it is, no. Select layout, very good. Okay, if you want, you can select from scratch a new layout, okay? Just in case you don't know if you want what will be the format for this new report from scratch that you want to generate, which will be RDLC, Word, Excel, or an external, okay? This will be connecting as well to other type of formats desired. But normally I would use RDLC, Word, Excel, as well we can send to PDF. I'm gonna show you that later. But for now, I have all the reports for all the documents. I don't need to create, but let's say that you customize a new function inside Business Central, okay? From where you're going to add, I don't know, what will be a warehouse process for your recipes that you want a new report, well, that you are going to call recipes or something like that, right? So you need to generate a new report layout, because currently I'm working with the standard, which is the sales invoice, the purchase order, the check, and so forth, okay? So we are going to do two things. Add the number of the report. Look at this, 322, or the sales invoice that I'm actually going to use today is the 1306. This is very important because this is the key for the reports that are already standard to be printed. We do not change this one. What we just actually change is the layout, okay? Another example is that if you can see here, I have a lot of sales invoices with different colors or titles, blue simple, the default, and I use one for an email body. Yes, you can generate your reports for email bodies, is very easy. But look at this, all of them are 1306, okay? This is an important point because we are printing the report 1306, but in order to create a new report, if you are customizing, you need to create a new report, a new ID, but today we are just changing the report layout, so you can see all these reports that I have changed or modified or created from scratch for my demos, but all of them are the same 1306 report. Okay, and this is for those of you who actually never worked before with NAB, within NAB or within Business Central. Okay, Good. Now let's go and check and let's go and do the fun part. I was talking about the webinar US sales invoice, right? So in this case, I want to export this layout because I would like to change it, okay? So I have copied this one from a previous one that is called just modern invoice, okay? But now it's called webinar. I use this invoice only for my webinar presentations and I need to change the layout. And in order to do so, I copied the one that is modern, okay? The modern one was just copied and then for us to save some time, but you can create it from scratch with the actual information I'm going to show you. So the idea of these reports is that you can now look at this. They are Word format. And from here, you are going to be able to then just import and export the layout that you actually see printed in Business Central. So let me just export this layout a little. And the file that I will be opening is just going to show me how then this layout is actually presented in Business Central. Let me just enable the edition. This is a regular Word document, okay? A regular Word document that has a company address. This is the same file that I showed you that was done with RDLC, but now in Word. And here you can see, well, the line section, the customer PO number, item line, shipment date, well, different fields that I have added here in this simple document. And look at my layout, okay? This is just a header with different colors. It's just yellow, green, you can change it, it's not a problem. You can add additional information, webinar, sales invoice, and I only present this printing format or this format in my webinars. I have changed the footer. You can change the colors. Well, it's up to you, okay? You know how to use Word. But the important thing for me today is the actual fields, okay? For us, the first is we need to add the development tool, okay? In Word, if you don't have permissions, well, actually, I believe the developing function has it's present with the, no, it's actually will be present with the actual office location will be there. Okay, you're gonna be able to see it. If not, in any case where you don't actually see the development function, actually you can just go, I believe, into this is actually taking some information that I need to verify because since I work here in Optimus, of course, I have all the licenses, but I want to remember if all of you will be having the development function. Okay, if not, it's not a problem. Let's just verify the following. I think it was in the options. Let me see where it is. Home, close, share. Let me see the home. Our transform was, no, sorry. I want to look for the options tab, which I believe I don't have it here. Okay, for those of you who manage the normal Word, let me look very fast on the internet for you to know where to add it. Okay, here it is. In Word, please, in order to show the development tab, go to a open file, right? And then you're going to be able to see the options and then the customize ribbon option. Okay, please go there. Okay, just for you for the webinar, if you want to check it. Here, we just have two different columns. The idea is that we are going to be adding just the development function. We just click on this one, development, and this will be adding additional information for us to add then the actual function for us in the actual Word document. Okay, so this is then the development part from where I have already added here. The development function will add this XML mapping pane. Okay, the XML mapping pane, once you click in there, it's going to show you, it's going to be shown on the right hand. Okay, here is the XML mapping window, and here we are going to see all these different routes, okay, or paths. We just need to open the one that is in the lowest part. Dynamics, reports, and and it's going to present you with the actual name of this report. And remember the number 1306, okay? All of these different paths give me some additional information to customize these reports and for the developers, okay? But for now, I want to actually show this one, okay? The standard cells is going to then show me all the different fields that I have available from Business Central. They are coming from Business Central, then to add to my document in this very one, okay? So in order to then add any given field, let me just come back to the document. You're gonna see this structure, okay? You need just to add different, so to speak, tables or footers, headers. With the normal Word, it won't be any essentially well any other addition, not difficult at all. So I'm just adding one single table, and from here I would say I would like to add, I don't know, the company email if it's not there in this. That's funny. The email is not here. Okay. Well, the company address, the ship to address, the customer address is here. Okay. But for now, I would like to add the company email that I don't actually see here. But in order to add it, look for the field you need, create the layout as beautiful as you need it first. In this case, it's just gray. Okay. But I want to add, for instance, what do you want to add? Rich text, plain text, a picture, a checkbox, comment box. Okay, there are different type of objects that you can add to your report. I won't have a lot of time to present all of them, but okay, by creating this table and look at the field that I wanted, I just need to add here the plain text or rich text function, right? In order to add to my table in this actual report, any given field that I'm looking for, okay? With this, I just need to verify, for instance, double check if this is correct. Yes, this is company email, or how you want to present it as well. So I'm still using the normal Word tools to verify the information or the text that you see here, okay? So yeah, in this case, I just want it as it is because, give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. And then once I have done this, well, and you could continue adding more and more and more. Let me just show you. The sales header in this case has information related to your company, okay? Company logo, the phone number, company picture as well could be added, okay? But in this case, it's type of objects for the company picture. You will need to add another type of text, which is the actual picture, okay? The picture. So anyway, you're gonna be adding all the fields. Let me just give you all the ones: the due date of the payment, what else? The order date, the order number. Order is when you are going to be ordering any given item, or well taken from the header, right, and so forth. So you think of what type of information you want to add here, all right? Nothing else. The idea is just in Word. You will be using now both tools. With this, we are only taking information from the actual Business Central fields. Take it. You now got the idea. But here the design is quite more sophisticated because now we'll be handling maybe spaces, areas. For instance, these tables, I can just rearrange them. Let me just do a simple movement that just is going to rearrange some of this information. Okay, so adding different colors, adding a footer, header, adding more fields, and changing the position of your tables. It's up to you how you want to operate with this. Okay, now I'm just going to save this file that I have just rearranged. nothing fancy. I don't have time to, actually this takes sometimes hours, right? So if you are learning your learning process, don't feel like pressure to do it in just 1 or 2 minutes, right? Actually, in order to generate a report, we sometimes spend 3 to 4 hours to properly actually see the report we want to have. Okay. And then the update report or document layouts. Okay, occasionally you may need to update your custom reports, right? Like I'm doing this. So this is required when has been many designs to change to the report data set. For example, you want to do it. This is a data set actually, okay, that we have currently in Business Central. Now, let me just come back a little. And then once you actually work with that, close your design process, and here come back to Business Central, then to the import, and look at this import layout. Okay, it will be then just selecting this tool. Okay, if I just position on the same sales invoice, this will be doing the trick. I just need to import a layout. Okay, by clicking on importing this tool in the layout from where I have exported, you as well have the importing layout function, okay? And here I just will choose the file that I have just worked with today. This is one. Okay. You can check it if it's the one that you desire, just immediately click on OK. Now, I want to then, for instance, if you need, you can just run the report before doing anything, just to see how it looks with the real information, right? That would be really good for us today. And well, I have just added more information. Here is the order address. I need to verify here. Maybe I don't have the correct information. Instead of the email, I got this this information. This is wrong in my data set. Okay, in my company information window. Okay, but here I have changed the areas, and they are like well, they have enough space anymore. They were not good that good before, so I have rearranged the areas. They now look similar, at least in the top of in this header part, right? I have as well changed and included this text webinar sales invoice. Well, just very basic for additions for you to see this. And then in this part, maybe you don't like my table. So this was my simple design. Actually, this is not too fancy at this point. I have done better designs. This was just for the webinar, but it's like I was thinking about doing a modern design where the layout is not the actual that we always see. So you can see it separated. I was actually testing. One of my users is always telling me, I want to see very well the price for each line, the pieces, the unit price, very well separated, and then later show me the total, separated the total with tax, and then I will be adding here another definition for the taxes. Okay, so this was necessary for a customer who was asking me this type of design. I'm still testing it, but you can imagine now, right? How will I operate then with this? Okay, if you want, I can actually just provide some other example of the reports that I currently have. It's not a problem. If you want to see them, just as an example for the sales invoice, I have the blue simple, and so forth. Okay, all of these reports with some time were just designed for our demos. This is actually more simple design. They just add colors, which actually is more sometimes important. And without having a very complex layout, this only includes 1 to 3 fields in the header, and the other ones are just lines. Okay, so it is the simple design, but sometimes it's just good to have it necessary if needed. And then as well, let me just show you one of the reports that requires some additions. Layout. Okay. The PayPal. Oh, it's not here. Okay, and this is another with more information. It's still blue, but well, you can see more or less how then you to have some ideas, simple word tables, simple tables that I add. But in this case, my tables were just without color, but they are still present, right? And in this case, I have just used a regular table design, or they could be just blank, however you want it. And even here, I have added more fields. This is the company name and the address. I added a table before that I then put it in white, but all of this information is still there like floating, right? But all with tables, and then including the fields behind the scene into each of the rows and squares. Now, for me, it's once I have decided all the different layouts that I have, okay, it's up to you how many you want to use. But here, if you want to use any of yours, you just need to verify here all the design. Here it would be the webinar US sales invoice model, okay? And you are going to be able now to change it, okay? So this is important. Once you select for your sales invoice, you will need to select the RDLC or Word. This will present you with the actual system reports, because whenever we do an implementation, we have already predefined reports coming from the actual Microsoft, well, the original product out of the box. Now I'm talking about the custom layout, okay, which I have just now changed it with the actual code that I have just created to change the sales invoice. So we have different reports now in this list. Just to finish, we don't actually have just completed the actual process. Go and try with Word your reports. It's going to be easy for you. Now, play around with it, delete them or rearrange them. It's not a problem. Start from scratch. That will be really advisable if you want to learn this. And then here we have another last menu because we now change our reports. So in this case, I'm just going to change that report because guess what? What I have done, it's not changed. I have just changed the layout, but without telling to be central, to Business Central, from which area you should print this report, okay? I just changed the design, but I never told to Business Central, okay, you need to click on this button to print this report at any given point, okay? So we have the report selection menus from where you're going to be. If you just look for the report selection, all the different modules from where you are going to be able to select different reports, starting from jobs, which is projects, the sales part, which we are going to be handling today, service, purchase, inventory, and so forth. So we have different processes to tell, actually, let me just click on sales. In this report selection for the sales module, you're going to get different documents, actually, okay? Different documents related to the sales operation that we use in Business Central, like prepare a quote, a blanket order, an invoice. This is the one that I'm interested in today, okay? Or a work order, return, okay? Or credit memo, why not? So you can change all the reports as needed, right? That are used by the sales department, and we just in Business Central separate by module, so it's going to be easy for you, the functional user, to actually change that. So for now, just need to check and select the invoice, okay? And for me, I have just the report 1306, which is the sales invoice. If you want, you as well can customize or a new report whenever you need that. You need to purchase new objects, we call them like that. In order to bring more, you will need to purchase reports, actually, just to come and use this object, okay? But here I have all the different reports that I showed you before, okay? And I was talking about that I have plenty of different layouts for the report 1306 sales invoice, okay? And that will be there. I just would need to verify how I just print it again, but just come to select it from the invoice, the report 1306. If you want, you can still customize more, right? We do not only have only one document for all the functional areas. We have sometimes two or three, so you can verify if in this case you have no reports for invoices. But once I come back, this will be the final part for me. If I just come and print a invoice, posted sales invoice, then you're going to be then able to print from here. And why not send by email? Very good. Okay. And from here, you're going to be able to see then a PDF document, okay, in this case, because I have selected that will be then printed, but now immediately it's printed in PDF, okay? And this is all I'm going to show you in another webinar, because we can predefine emails for our, well, for communications with specific formats, with specific layouts and text or email body. And here is now the new report that I have generated. And then I have, well, the same design, but automatically is now used, this argument, from within the actual application. We just actually print this document, okay? But you need to know which report you are using. In this case is the 1306, and you need to check the report selection by module to see, well, where is the invoice, where is the sales order, where is the shipment, talking about this information. Good. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. We are finishing today's webinar, and then we're going to have additional, so you can, well, we can help you with this if you want to have like a more down-to-earth training notes so fast, so we can actually start designing additional reports in Word for any given application functional document that you use within Business Central. So thank you very much. If you have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, we see you next week in another webinar, and then I hope you have a great week. So see you next time.